Welcome back. You're now watching the political segment on the weekend. And that was lovely music by Brejo Bright, a regular on this show, and it's always nice listening to him. On the 2nd of August, there was a scheduled industrial action or strike or nationwide protest about the fuel subsidy and the economic situation in the country. However, there is a court decision which is prohibiting the National Labour or the Nigerian Labour Congress from having peaceful protest. However, it is a fundamental human right of every Nigerian to be able to protest or raise their grievances in a peaceful manner. And so by taking this matter to court and threatening to charge them to contempt of court for protesting, it now makes you question what are the rights of having unions in Nigeria. We will be talking about that and the palliatives or lack of it by the federal government as we go through top financial and economic times in the country at the moment. Joining us, we have Benson Opa, who is the Head of Information and Public Affairs at NLC. We also have Suleiman Ibrahim. Good morning and welcome to the show. And joining us also is Ahmed Tijani Mustafa, who is the former SSA New Media, Osun State. Good morning and welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
Pleasure to be here. It's nice having you here. I like how you now always have your logo on your shirts and great branding.
Yeah, it's our identity.
It's amazing.
Thanks a lot.
Let's talk about what's going on in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Fuel subsidies were removed as an announcement.
Yeah.
No exact strategy on how to solve the problems of people. Then there was a proposal, and Nigerians kicked against it. The government listened and said they would modify it.
Yes.
Now your association has said this is taking too long, and there's a proposed strike action on the 2nd. I'll let you go on from there. What's the situation, and where are we headed?
Yeah, let me thank you very much for summing up what the issues have been all about. Great, very thoughtful of you. We did go on protest on the 2nd of August because we had no other choice. It was the least option available to us. When Mr. President, on May 29th, on his inauguration day, right at the Eagle Square, removed fuel subsidy, announced the removal of fuel subsidy. We felt it was an unkind cut, given the fact that subsidy statutorily was supposed to run till the end of June. Mr. President had a window during which he was expected to consult critical stakeholders, but he did that and threw the country into a tailspin. No reason for that, and no preparation, as you noted. There was nothing on ground. He just said so for the fun of it. And we said, no, we are going to go on strike because that reduced the value of life of the average Nigerian from wherever it was to ground zero. You know, people could not move. People could not move. People could not do anything. People could not feed. So, I mean, there was palpable anger, palpable, in fact, unabating hunger. Suddenly, masses of Nigeria became unemployed because they could not move, they couldn't do anything. You know, in any situation, in any country, when the movement of people, the movement of services, movement of products are inhibited, that country is bound to grind to a halt. And that was what happened to Nigeria. So we're going to protest against that. In fact, it didn't even stop at that. Shortly after that, the central bank devalued the naira. From what you used to know, 400 and something naira to 750, 800 naira. That automatically raised our national debt stock from 72 trillion to 81 trillion. It raised the cost of servicing our debt, the cost of governance, everything, prices of everything changed. Contracts works at site had to stop because people had to come back to a negotiating table to be able to get new terms and so on and so forth. So these were policy decisions that were highly injurious to the body, to the soul of Nigeria. And if you took time to read reviews, even for those, even for forces of market, they said Nigeria was at a boiling point. And the least we felt we could do was that we were going to go on strike, and and then we gave out a notice of a strike action. But government invited us for a discussion. If you have ever read Things Fall Apart, it's this bit of it that a normal Roman does not refuse an invitation. So we went. But while we were holding that meeting in the presidential villa, government acted in bad faith, came and served a court process, substituted service. Truckloads of policemen came to paste the order. Well, let me just explain this. In places where there is law and order, for you to do a substituted service, you must take permission from the court. And there must be reason why you have to do substituted service. If that party is evading service or is not within that region, but could be reached by other means. So there are reasons why substituted service have to be. But government elected to do substituted service as a first option. So in spite of that act of bad faith, we had the discussion, and we arrived at 7 points. And those 7 points, if you like, I can pick a piece of paper and I can go through them, but if you want,
sure.
Because I think I came with it here, and we said, 1, Labour and government to establish a joint committee to review the proposal for any wage increase or award and establish a framework and timeline for implementation. 2, government and Labour to review World Bank Finance Cash Transfer Scheme and propose inclusion of low-income earners in the program. Government and Labour to revive CNG conversion program, earlier agreed with Labour centers in 2021, and work out detailed implementation and timing. Government and Labour to review issues hindering effective delivery in the education sector and propose solutions for implementation. Government and Labour to review and establish the framework for completion of the rehabilitation of the nation's refineries. Government to provide a framework for maintenance of roads and expansion of rail networks across the country. And the 7th one is other demands as made by our sister Labour Center, the TUC.
Okay, we'll let you come back, but I know there's a question for Tijani.
Yes, Ahmed Tijani, I would like to know your thoughts on this NLC strike and protest. Do you believe this is the right way to go in regards to the full subsidy removal and the extreme cost of living for everyday Nigerians?
Well, thank you for bringing me in, and I must appreciate the Labour leader who has spoken. He's spoken with clarity of thought. But then again, the fact that that protest lasted just a single day tells the story itself, tells just how unpopular a decision that was by the NLC to go ahead with that strike. While I quite understand that protest is a fundamental right of the citizen, and I must say that government did not go to court to stop them from protesting. Government went to court to stop them from going on strike. Those are two different issues. It's clear that subsidy had to go, and we all agreed with that. Nigeria, in the lead up to the 2023 elections, had 3 leading candidates. Labour took a position, one of those candidates, whose name I don't want to mention, and that candidate openly said that he was going to remove subsidy on the first day that he was elected president, and Labour was okay with it. So it's funny to me now how what they agreed to pre-election, and this candidate who won election, who is now president, said pre-election that he was going to remove fuel subsidy. So it's not as if we just woke up one day and the decision was made out of thin air. Throughout the campaign period, the three leading candidates, I say again, were clear on what their plan was. And let's be factual about this. Nigeria cannot sustain the subsidy. What we do, or what we've done over time, is to borrow to keep subsidizing. So if you, like he was saying in his argument that we had another 1 month window, that's another 1 month of continued borrowing. You know, so Bola Ahmed Tinubu, president, in his wisdom, thought enough is enough. If you go back to the history of subsidy, it was supposed to be a 6-month stopgap approach to help mitigate the rising cost of fuel. And we've gone around it for decades in this country. So at a point, we had to tell ourselves the truth, this has to go. In his list of demands for government, in Labour, not his, sorry, apologies, in Labour's list of demands for government, a lot of things that we needed to do. Nigeria is not as rich as most of us think that this country is. So if you're demanding that we expand railway, we invest in road infrastructure, we invest in electricity, increase minimum wage, where is that money going to come from if we still keep funneling money down the drain into subsidy? And it's painful because subsidy does not, in actual fact, benefit the average Nigerian on the street. It's a conglomerate of infinitesimal Nigerians who are ripping us off, benefiting from subsidy. It's, I don't know how Labour doesn't see it from that perspective. As an ordinary Nigerian, I go to work from my home to my office and I come back. That's all I do. Some Nigerians can't even afford to put on their generators because they don't even have a generator to begin with. But we have an elite group of Nigerians who fuel 10, 15, 20, 30 cars on a daily basis. And we're supposed to enjoy the same subsidy? I don't think so. I think that that money is better served being put into the rehabilitation of rural roads that will make food product and food pricing more affordable for me as a Nigerian.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry, but I need to interject. And please, walk with me on this.
Okay.
And I want to respond to this issues raised.
2 months ago, it cost me 11,000 naira to fuel my car. And I'm speaking from a position of privilege.
Okay.
It cost me 11,000 to fuel my car. Now it costs me 40,000 naira. 11,000 can't get me a quarter of my tank. That's the first point. Okay. Secondly, if a few group of people, a conglomerate, is robbing Nigeria, it means they've identified the problem and the people. Why can't those people be taken out of the mix while Nigerians benefit? And I say this because the example I've given on this show is if my mom cooks rice and sells to the public at 2,000 naira, why should I, her child, have to pay the same 2,000 naira when we know this is within the house? Now, the third point, talking about the conglomerate and the big people who are fueling 27 cars, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has just submitted 48 names of people to be ministers. Each of those people would have a minimum of 3 advisors. And so I'm yet to see positive moves to reduce cost of governance, the same way Nigerians are being told to calm down and take time. But most importantly, you say that it's not affecting the likes of you and I. It is affecting me.
No, I did not say it's not affecting you. What I'm saying in essence is this. Okay, I like the example that you've painted about the president sending 48 names to the Senate for approval. Now, the question is, why was that done? Some ministries, from what I gather, I'm not speaking on behalf of the president, I don't presume to know what his mind is. For instance, in conversations I've had with certain people, have said ministries like Ministry of Youth and Sport will be split into 2, because if you have a Minister of Youth and Sport, most oftentimes that minister focuses on sports, neglecting culture. So this is on need-to-be basis. It's not, we're not trying to overblow government, we're trying to get specificity out of government, and which will in turn enrich the lives of ordinary Nigerians on the street. So it's a quid pro quo arrangement. And I'll come to the idea of your mom cooking rice. So the easiest way to drop fuel subsidies to fix local refineries, and I like the fact that the NLC has made that demand on government. Okay, for how long has refineries been out of use or producing below optimal levels? We need to invest money to get that done. Rather than put that money into the refineries and fix them, we've figured out the solution, which is to subsidize fuel. And like I say again, if we keep going around that circle, we're not going to find the funds to do what we need to do, and that's where we're going to remain. If we don't take subsidy away today, Jonathan tried to take it away some 11, 12 years ago. We're still having that conversation right now. What I would expect is that we should have done that thing 12 years ago.
Your party should have acted on it in the last 8 years. Do you agree?
I agree. Absolutely. So the best time to do something is yesterday. The next best time to do it is today.
But wouldn't you agree that with the NLC that some plans should have been made to cushion the effects of this fuel subsidy instead of it coming immediately at us? No plans, no cushions, no palliatives, nothing.
As a matter of fact, Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over government on May the 29th, 2023. Whether or not he took a decision on subsidy, in the next 30 days of his administration, subsidy was going to go. And again, I need to remind you that we were borrowing to pay. It's not as if the money is available to Nigeria. We're literally borrowing money to pay subsidy.
Yes, we know subsidy was inevitable, but we're just saying those plans, things to just help cushion the effects.
And the fact that it takes time for this to... I understand. I'm like he said, I'm also feeling this. I'm not immune to the effect of this subsidy removal, but this is a process that we all need to go through. And like the president said in his speech, he understands and he feels the pains of Nigerians, but he's asking for understanding from Nigerians, and he's promising, like, I think a day or two, 2 days ago or yesterday, the news came out that by December, the Port Harcourt refinery will be up and running. Those are the kind of things that I look forward to and tell myself, okay, if it means going through this now to fix the Port Harcourt refinery by December, which is a mountain that we've been going around for, I don't know how long, maybe the entirety of my adult life, we've been going around this mountain of fixing the... If by December the government does not deliver on its promise to bring the Port Harcourt refinery to full capacity, then we can begin to have this conversation about failed promises and all of that.
I need to bring other people in, and I'll bring Chief Ibrahim in, but I just want to state that talking about plans, like she said, and moves, and you're not APC, you're not the president, and you're doing a great job trying to even explain this further, but talking about plans and the president telling us to wait, the president and the National Assembly are borrowing another 800 million, and 70 billion naira was appropriated for the National Assembly, which has less than 1,000 people, whereas over 200 million people are being told to hold on and take it easy. And this is something which you can't necessarily answer.
No, I can't.
Okay,
I can't.
But
You said about the 8,000 naira.
No, I want to respond.
No, I'm talking about the fact that in the planning, 70 billion.
I'm going
It is a conversation.
Nigerians need to understand that this is a listening government. So at the beginning of this proposal, the proposal was made to give the poorest of the poor Nigerians 8,000 naira. Nigerians rightfully kicked against that, and government listened. And I believe that Nigerians are rightfully kicking against, and I'm also part of people kicking against the 70 billion naira allocated to the National Assembly. And I believe that this government will also listen.
Nothing has been done about it.
But we push, and that's it. The fact that government has met with Labour has put its demand forward, and Labour has called off its planned strike. It means that this is a government who, when you sit down with them, have conversations with them, they do listen. And as simple as that, I understand that Nigerians have a huge distrust in government. There's been a gap between those who are government and those who are governing. But we are hoping and praying that this current president and this administration can close that gap as much as possible. Okay,
Suleiman, I want you to join the conversation. Can you just share your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, actually, the situation at hand is beyond the way and manner teeming masses of Nigeria are looking at it is this. But the leadership of the government and the Labour, they are not even ready for popular Nigerians. When the government talk about, when the Labour are supposed to strike or start protesting in respect of fuel removal, we did not see anything. Yes, you can't take it from President Tinubu, he has the capacity. But I'm telling you, if one and only thing the president should do or should reconsider is this fuel subsidy. In my community today, fuel is 950 naira. People can no longer go to farm. I'm telling you, sir, life, the hardship and hunger that is thriving in this country today, if the government need to know, I'm telling you, is a threat to even peace. Because at farm, people bag their food on their back as babies because they are afraid others, farmers that do not have something to eat, will come and steal the food. So, just to tell you the level, even in the village. So, life is so miserable for every Nigerian, but God has blessed Nigeria with kindness. People of Nigeria were very patient. As I'm talking to you today, sir, government is talking about palliative. Who and who are they going to reach? Why people kick against the 8,000 naira proposed by President Tinubu is because everybody see the programs Buhari government initiated. In my community, they only come as if we are victim of insurgency. They will contract it to other people in the name of NGO. They will go and connive with banks, take record of people's accounts. I'm telling you, they and the bank will do their business. Even if in my community, more than 80 people were registered, no one got a 1 naira. But the one that will come as a minimal scale, what and what, they follow politicians, they give the contract to politicians. They don't, those people do not care about people. You understand? So, government, I don't know how they can achieve their target of palliative. If they are targeting increasing salary to the civil servant, how many Nigerians are working today? The artisans are there, in fact, they are roaming now on street. There's no work to do, nothing to do. It's a pity. If Mr. President can listen to this, and just as the gentleman here said, he has a listening ear. Yes, let him do something about this. It is now, I believe that, or Nigerians believe that it is not those few Nigerians that benefit from subsidy. Subsidy is a child of necessity, either to stay, to be implemented. Nigerians are not ready. The environment is not okay for subsidy to be removed by now. Okay. Just as the NLC say, there must be a preparation. Okay. Yes, all the executives have, the presidential candidate promised to remove subsidy. But when and how, there must be a room, before, a shelter before talking about
Understandably
furniture.
so.
Well, thank you very much. What was his name again?
Suleiman.
Suleiman. Okay, let me thank you very much, Comrade Suleiman. I was there to give you a comrade.
Thank you.
Let's start with my brother and friend, Ahmed Tijani. Let me clear some impression here. He said that Mr. President did well by removing subsidy on the grounds of Eagle Square, that was the right decision. Well, I want to tell you that what he did was an impeachable offense. Mr. President has no right to vary the Appropriation Act without first, without a recourse to the National Assembly. If he had anything, if he had any reason to do what he did, he was supposed to have consulted the National Assembly. And I had expected somebody at the National Assembly to raise this on the floor, that Mr. President acted in error. That is one. Then two, you say that this protest was not popular. That was why it lasted for just a day. If you only know what we have done to save this government, we have the means and capacity to go for a full-scale strike action. You remember what happened in 2012? You understand? So, in fact, our capacity is even bigger than what it was at that time. But we say, no, let us give this government a chance by doing a one-day protest. It was actually supposed to be a 3-day protest from Wednesday to Friday. Okay? But after appeals, consultations, we said, okay. And shortly after we addressed the National Assembly, information came that the president wanted to see us. And we went and we had a conversation in which he agreed to certain things. the expansion and the depth of the interventions, then the timelines were speeded up, and all of that. So it was on the basis of this to say, okay, let us give him a chance and see. And before I respond to the issue of the bad faith of government, let me also explain some other things that you say, which I don't think are right. You said subsidy benefits only the rich. That is not true. Subsidy benefits everybody. In fact, it benefits the poor even more than the rich. But in any case, get our trajectory right. We said, deal with the criminal content of subsidy. Deal with the crooks. That has always been our position. From day one, we didn't say subsidy must stay. We said we gave conditions. And by the time government deals with those conditions, subsidy will no longer be a burden to government. It is the pardon. It is a crime inside subsidy that we want, that we are pushing, that government must deal with. But government is dealing with ordinary people.
So just because of time,
but let me just speak
way forward from the full, because I know you have another deadline for the 14th, because we have about 2 more minutes to go.
Yes, fine.
And I want you to speak about your way forward.
Yeah, well, but then what I'm saying is that before we do the way forward, we said, well, those guys who over-invoice, who under-deliver, those guys who are involved in the crude oil swaps between NNPC and other entities, those guys who overestimate our national capacity consumption, who keep on, in fact, if what government spends on subsidy, let's assume, is 300 million, they give a bill of 2 to 3 billion. And I want you to listen to our illustrious daughter, Dr. Ngozi Iweala, of how they discovered these things and wanted to deal with them. And they abducted, her mother.
So we have 1 minute.
1 minute left. Our way forward on something.
Yes.
Our way forward is that government acted in bad faith after Mr. President invited us for a heart-to-heart talk. Because Mr. President, whether I would like it or not, is the father of the nation. He's our father. So we listened to him. I said, okay, owing to what you've said, we will listen. We will not proceed any further. Only to get to the office and to meet a summons saying that, that we acted in contempt of court. We said, okay, if this is what you want, for not going on strike, if this is what you want, we'll give you a full strike action. We're going to give a full strike. We have the capacity, and we're already mobilizing. And let me add this. I have reason to suspect that whoever engineered that court process, the person must be a political enemy of Mr. President, trying to undermine him, because Mr. President knows full well he was in trenches with us in 2012. He issued a 6-page statement. If I recall, I have it here. He called the Jonathan tax. Even though his own tax, now the Tinubu tax, even appears to be harsher than the Jonathan tax.
Unfortunately, we need to go now because we've run out of time. But we will get both of you back on next weekend to continue this conversation. So you will be back, and we'll have a part 2 so that you have a full 1 hour to have this conversation.
Please.
Thank you so much for watching us. We will have a part 2 of this conversation same time next week for 1 hour. But we just want to thank all of you for watching The Weekend Show. It's 5 years, and thank you for spending your time with us. Follow us on social media at Weekend Show NG on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Andy Madaki on social media. You can follow Didi
at Didi_ on Instagram and Twitter.
You can also watch this on YouTube, so we'll be having it uploaded shortly. But see you next week when we continue.